And now it's time, finally, for a moment that I've personally been waiting for since I joined CodeSignal 7 years ago.
That is an awful long time to wait for a keynote. But I know that this is a moment Tigran's been waiting for since he was dreaming up our mission all those years ago.
To tell us all more and show you what we've been working so hard to build, please welcome back to the stage, Tigran.
Wow, has this event been incredible or what? Let's hear it. Woo! All right, first, let's hear a big, big round of applause for the incredible Signalites that have been working so hard to make this event a reality. Come on, you guys are amazing. Now, I have a major product announcement for you all today that's going to change the face of hiring and skills development forever. But before I get to it, I want to share with you all how I personally got obsessed with the need to solve the talent problem. As many of you know, I grew up in Armenia during one of the most turbulent times in country's history, the 1990s. Those years are known in Armenia as the dark and cold years, and that's a literal translation. When I was only 4 years old, the country had just experienced a massive economic and political revolution. Inflation was over 100%. There was war raging on the border. And there was no heat, no electricity. And worst of all, the country got pretty bad winters with a lot of snow. My parents were well educated, but they were finding odd jobs here and there just to make ends meet. Even though the times were dark and cold, they encouraged both me and my older brother to do well in school because they believed the skills we learned through education will serve us no matter what the future had in store for us. When I started going to school, though, to their utter disappointment, I was not a good student. In fact, by the time I was in middle school, I was branded a troublemaker by pretty much every teacher in school. You see, my personality is quite extroverted and very disagreeable. Works well when you're an entrepreneur. My investors here will affirm that. But traditional school systems are not designed for kids like that. I preferred, instead of paying attention to, in school and doing my homework, I preferred to play soccer and get into occasional fights. One day, I came back home from school and found my older brother cracking a very particular joke on me. He kept on saying, "Look, there comes my gifted brother." I was like, okay, given my grades, that kind of makes sense, but why is that funny? It turns out my father had decided to enter me into a math competition for gifted kids. And my brother's joke all of a sudden made a lot more sense. Now, I didn't want to disappoint anybody, so I started to prepare and study, but when I went to the competition, I could barely answer one question correctly. Now, at the closing ceremony of that competition, I watched kids that looked just like me get up on the stage, get their awards, while I sat in the back pondering what happened. Now, it turns out kids that are very disagreeable tend to also be very competitive. At that very moment, my competitive nature kicked in, and I vowed to be back and try again. Over the next 5 years, I won every regional, national, and international competition there was to win. In fact, I set a record for the most international Math Olympiad medals from Armenia that still hasn't been broken. It's been like 20-something years. At one of those international competitions, I overheard somebody saying, "I'm going to MIT next year." And I went close to him and I was like, "What's MIT?" And he looked at me as if I was from another planet. And he went, all right, I'm going to grab a sticky note, write MIT.edu on it, and handed it to me and said, go apply. They love nerdy international math kids. So I applied, and a year later, I was on a plane to Boston with a backpack and $20 in my pocket to study at MIT on a full scholarship. After graduation, I got recruited to work at Google. And shortly after joining Google, I started doing a lot of interviews. Because my team, just like many other teams, had a lot of roles that we just couldn't fill fast enough, technical roles. As I started interviewing more and more people from different backgrounds, I started to reflect on my own journey, from Armenia to MIT to Google. And three key realizations that I've labeled the talent problem became apparent to me. First of all, I realized that talent is the most precious resource humanity has. Look, every single piece of technology, everything that you see here, every medical cure, every solution to a future problem is or will be a byproduct of someone's skills. Second of all, we're failing as a society to help humans build skills and live up to their true potential. Now, look, I was lucky enough to find an environment and an approach that helped me make something of myself. But I knew many people that grew up with me that never even got that chance. They just got the branding, stayed with the branding. And last but not least, even after some people, against all odds in this fairly broken system, do manage to build skills, we fail to recognize it unless it's reflected in pedigree. I randomly overheard somebody say MIT, went to them, somehow ended up in Boston. And I knew many people who went to those competitions with me, and they just didn't happen to go to MIT, and that meant they couldn't even get interviews. They would send in their resumes and never hear back. Not long after internalizing the talent problem for myself, I quit Google to start CodeSignal on a journey to discover and develop the skills that will shape the future. Now, when starting the journey, I did not realize how hard it was going to be. You see, on the one hand, technology is accelerating at a faster and faster rate, displacing many existing skills and creating growing demand for new ones. A recent study by a top research group found that if the trends of the past decade continue, by 2030, we'll have 85 million jobs that go unfilled because there aren't enough skilled people to take them. On the other hand, most of the industry still uses resume and pedigree as the primary way to identify skills and talent. Within the first year of starting the company, the true scale and complexity of the mountain we had to climb started to dawn on me. I was like, okay, first, we gotta build simulations that would make practice and high signal skill assessments possible. Second, we had to find a way to get the industry to go beyond resumes and trust non-traditional signals when hiring. And finally, we had to make sense of a highly chaotic world of skills, because it takes a lot more than keywords on resumes and job descriptions to understand what someone is truly capable of and where they would shine. Through a lot of hard work, some luck, and a ton of trust from our amazing early customers. Speaking of which, we have a lot of amazing customers in this room. Let's hear it for CodeSignal customers. We love you. As I was saying, through a lot of hard work, some luck, and a ton of trust from our amazing customers, we've managed to deliver every single one of these pieces. We've created the most advanced IDE in skills technology that can simulate highly realistic work environments for every single technical role. We've helped our customers go beyond resumes using our certified skills evaluations so that they can finally trust evaluation signals. In fact, a certified skills evaluation is completed on CodeSignal every single minute. That means that we've helped, let's see, roughly 107 people go beyond resumes since the start of this event. And finally, we've created the first of its kind skills engine that allows us to represent skills as measurable, job-relevant attributes. And this helps us serve the needs of very different companies. And not only that, it allows us to port over industry insights to help our customers make better strategic decisions. Now, when starting this journey, though, and throughout the whole process, we never forgot that our mission was to discover and develop the skills that will shape the future. And that's exactly what we've done. So today, I'm proud to tell you all that we're launching CodeSignal Learn. Woo-hoo! CodeSignal Learn is powered by our state-of-the-art IDE that allows for true practice-based learning experiences. Until today, most consumer and corporate learning content has been centered on videos. You typically have 90% video and other types of passive learning content, and only 10% practice if you're lucky. How can you even learn like that? Imagine when you were learning how to ride a bike, if they showed you a video of somebody else riding it, and rarely, if ever, let you touch it and ride it yourself. Would you ever learn the skill? Of course not. With CodeSignal Learn, we're turning this model on its head. It's all about practice. It's 90% practice. All of our courses are 90% practice and 10% instruction. Now, on top of being practice-based, CodeSignal Learn is all about mastery. All of our courses are built for mastery. Now, unfortunately, most of the world measures skills development by course completion or multiple choice questions, and not through mastery. And this starts fairly early on in our society. Like when you're in middle school, you take Algebra 1, you get a C, and the entire world expects you to go take Algebra 2 and not fail. Like how? But this happens every day. With CodeSignal Learn, we use our cutting-edge skill evaluation technology to help you master skills and understand more fundamental elements of every skill before you move on to harder courses and harder concepts. Now, practice-based and mastery-focused are great, but that's not enough. That's not enough to truly create a revolutionary skills development product. You see how no matter how good your courses are, and no matter how much you've tried to really cater to every individual inevitably gets stuck. Either because they've forgotten something that you've taught them before, or they just didn't understand it deeply enough. And the only way to stop a complete breakdown of the skills development journey is to have one-on-one tutoring available as readily as possible. Now, this phenomenon is not new. This phenomenon was first identified by Benjamin Bloom in 1984. It's been 40 years. And Benjamin Bloom is one of the greatest educational psychologists. In early 80s, Bloom and his PhD students started doing these experiments where they would take a group of learners and they would split them into two groups. One group would get traditional one-to-many instruction. Okay? The other group would have one-on-one tutoring available. And they would measure the educational outcomes. Guess what they found? The group that didn't have one-on-one tutoring just did like groups usually do. Some people fail, some people do average, and some people do well. The group that did have one-on-one tutoring did what they called 2 standard deviations, 2 sigma above in terms of educational outcomes. And that's why they named it the 2 sigma problem. Put it more simply, this means that people who failed the course without one-on-one tutoring did average with one-on-one tutoring. And people who did average without tutoring got an A+ with tutoring. And Bloom called this the Two Sigma problem because he thought, okay, great, we found something, but how do we get every learner in the world to have a one-on-one tutor? This is simply impossible. Now, I wish Benjamin Bloom was alive today, because I'm proud to share that we've solved the Two Sigma problem. CodeSignal Learn is powered by smartest, friendliest, and cutest AI tutor in the universe of skills, Cosmo. Cosmo is there every step of your learning journey, whether it's clarifying concepts as you're going through lessons, or helping you understand something in the practice, or checking your work. Because sometimes you need someone to give you guidance. Are you on the right track, or are you going completely off? Now, on top of that, Cosmo can also turn text-based lessons into videos for you. Yes, you heard that right. We've built the first of its kind AI technology that can turn text-based lessons into videos with high-quality audio, amazing slides, and quality that's just indistinguishable from human-recorded videos. And this breakthrough in text-to-video technology, as well as Cosmo and our amazing Skills API, has allowed us to launch today with courses covering thousands of skills, ranging from data analytics to data science to machine learning to full-stack engineering, back-end engineering, front-end engineering, and so much more. Now, even though today is the public launch of CodeSignal Learn, we've been beta testing the product for many months with thousands of learners in partnership with some of our amazing customers. And today, I have a special guest for you all to tell you more a little bit about our partnership with Google and how they used CodeSignal Learn and Cosmo. All right, give a big round of applause.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jess Hill, and I lead a team at Google called Education Equity, whose mission is to bridge the gap between what's taught in the classroom and what's actually expected out in the tech industry. As you all know better than anybody, the tech industry is constantly changing at a rapid pace, and our priority is to ensure that institutions, particularly those that are under-resourced, have the skills and resources that they need to set their students up for career success. We do this by leveraging our Googlers who roll up their sleeves, go into the classroom, and teach courses and build curriculum hand in hand with the faculty on campus. We are so grateful to have had a wonderful partnership with CodeSignal, whose assessment platform we've used over the last few years in our Tech Exchange program. Recently, though, our students have gotten early access to CodeSignal Learn, and I wish you all could see their faces in excitement when they learned about the fact that they have access to this platform. They were literally cheering with Tigran on stage. So they're thrilled about it. The excitement has only continued since they've gotten the chance to use it. We've heard lots of great commentary about the fact that it's amazing that they have a resource they can leverage at 2 in the morning to answer their questions. Googlers are also really excited they don't have to answer questions at 2 in the morning, so that's also a really big win. And overall, it's just been a really, really great, practice-based learning resource to enhance augment their experience with Tech Exchange. So we're really grateful for the partnership again, Tigran, and thank you, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Jess. Let's give another round of applause. I'm a huge fan of your mission and what you do and your team, so I'm really excited to build on this partnership this year.
Feeling is
now, guess what? We actually asked some of our early users to send us videos of what they think about Cosmo and using CodeSignal Learn, and we had compiled a reel that we're going to show you. Ready to see it? All right, let's roll.
Using CodeSignal Learn while interviewing for a new job has been really helpful.
Having access to CodeSignal Learn has been awesome.
During my lessons with Cosmo, I was able to ask questions, and he offered genuinely valuable feedback.
It feels like I'm getting real in-depth, thoughtful feedback from a human being.
I think that was the biggest thing that I enjoyed was being able to ask Cosmo for a little hint or a point in the right direction.
I felt that Cosmo really helped me when I got stuck. He helped me improve wherever I needed to improve in my learning journey.
Honestly, Cosmo just makes this whole experience really special.
I'm a self-learner, so I learn better by doing rather than sitting in a class or watching videos.
With other learning platforms, when I'm stuck, my only option is to look up the solution, which doesn't help me learn how to solve the problem.
I feel lucky to be able to use CodeSignal Learn while I navigate this transitional period.
I've been a developer for over 30 plus years. CodeSignal Learn is the most innovative and exciting product I've seen.
I've never experienced learning like this, and I really think that this is the future for learners like me.
And it's really made learning fun for me.
Look at that. Are we ready to see a live demo? How can we do this without a live demo? Woo-hoo! All right. Now, there's a few different ways you can start using CodeSignal Learn. One of those could be you've already completed an assessment on CodeSignal, which means we already understand a lot about your skills and can start you out with a personalized learning path. Now, in the demo, I'm going to show you a use case where you just started, you never interacted with us, and Cosmo says, welcome, I'm your guide, and before we take off, can you answer a few questions for me? Well, if a cute Cosmo asks, what else can we do than answer it? All right, so first Cosmo would say, what are you interested in learning? Let's say data and machine learning. Then we'll pick what specifically, and you can always say I'm not sure, because sometimes you just have no idea what these are. Let's say I want to boost my career. And another thing that you would notice is we always talk about competency level, even if it's self-declared, because at least we start to understand where you think you stand in that specific skill set. So let's say developing, let's click next. And Cosmo will make a very cute thinking face, analyze this, and say done. All right, we click next, and Cosmo says, I got you. Here is a learning path that I've made for you, consisting of 7 short and fun courses. Let's jump in. The first thing that you would notice is we never talk about skills without competency. When we talk about teaching for mastery, when you're teaching for mastery, you have to understand competency. I often see courses in other platforms that say, you'll learn data analytics, or you'll learn, a machine learning model. What does that really mean? You have to tell me what degree of competency I'm going to have after going through that. So that's what you see here, right? It says these are the skills you will learn at these specific competencies. It says these are the tools that you will use to do so. And then you see the courses. And you will also notice we never recommend an individual course. Because if I'm here to become a data scientist, what is one course going to do? You need to give me a guided path that can take me through that experience and meet me where I am and take me where I want to go. Now, I already have started this path, so I'll just switch over here and jump into learning unsupervised learning. That's a fun sentence to say. All right, let's say hello to Cosmo. Hello, Cosmo. This is exciting. Let's see if Cosmo is excited for Beyond. All right. Now, as I was saying, Cosmo's entire thing is actually wrapped into this experience. So Cosmo is fully contextually aware of what's happening here. Right? Cosmo knows that I'm doing unsupervised learning here and is contextually responding to me. But it gets way more fun when you actually start asking questions about the course itself. So you will see here we have the text-based lesson ready for someone, and they can say next and next. And we usually chunk these up so that it's easier to consume, regardless of what you're doing. So I can keep clicking next and get to, for example, where Cosmo is showing me how to visualize the iris dataset. Speaking of which, I actually have a question, Cosmo. What does iris have to do with machine learning? right? And Cosmo will get in there and give me, again, contextual responses. Because like, if we tried to fit it all into this course, I mean, this course would be gigantic. And some people are curious about this, others already know it. Right? But when I first saw this course, and it was a while ago, I was like, I have no idea what these flowers have to do with machine learning. I actually asked this question. But somebody else who's been doing this for some time wouldn't need to. Now, you might have noticed at the top, Cosmo said, do you prefer to watch rather than read? And I'm one of those people. I see a big block of text, my mind goes, I'm not reading it. Which means that it was very important for us to have both video-based as well as text-based courses. Now, all of these text-based courses are created and refined by the same team that brought you the CodeSignal certified evaluations, which means that team actually knows very closely what are these different companies hiring for, what are our CTOs that we work with on a day-to-day basis, what skills do they really care about? And we use that information to craft courses and to craft material that truly speaks to what the industry needs. Now let's try the video piece. All right, boom, ready to go. Exploring and visualizing the IRIS dataset. Now look, I don't know how your slide making skills are. Cosmo seriously makes better slides than I do.
Welcome to Exploring and Visualizing the IRIS dataset. In this lesson, we embark on a captivating journey through one of the most iconic datasets used within the machine learning community.
All right, I'm not going to make you listen through all of it, but I'm going to jump ahead to show you the quality of the video. And in case you were wondering, that was Cosmo's voice. Congratulations, you heard Cosmo's voice for the first time. Woohoo! All right, let's see a couple more slides, and then we'll go to practices where it gets really fun.
Successful model implementation. With this preparation complete, we're almost ready to bring out the visual tools that will help us make sense of our IRIS data story. Advancing our exploration with the IRIS dataset, we now venture into the vibrant landscape of data visualization.
Look at that slide. I can't make slides like that. All right, well, and then also the text-based version of this is constantly available for you, right? So if you want to flip back and forth and look at side by side, maybe, for example, you see that code, you can't copy it from video, I can easily switch back to the text-based version, copy it, and do whatever I want with it. For example, ask Cosmo a question. Let's say, why are we doing this? Again, highly contextual. It's like having your own private tutor. How much does a private tutor usually cost in California? Probably looking $100 an hour. It's like having your own private tutor sitting there helping you 24/7. Like Jess was saying, right? 2 a.m., no problem. Cosmo is ready to help. And Cosmo never judges. You can ask whatever you want. All right, let's quickly go through the lesson and start the practice. You will see that I just earned some experience points that go towards my skills badges, which help me first keep motivated and also keep track of what I've been learning so far. And how could you do it without a streak? Now, see, I've been good. I've been a loyal user. Here's one interesting thing. When you're designing a revolutionary learning product, you have to keep in mind that someone's sometimes opposing extremes. On the one hand, you want to keep motivation really high. You want to make it easy, you want to make it accessible. But on the other hand, you want to measure their skills, you want to keep pushing them to higher and higher points. And one thing that we internalized very early on is it's hard to make education as fun as playing Mario Karts. I literally have a TEDx talk that says, can learning be addictive? And I used to believe you could make it addictive. Now I believe that learning is more like going to the gym. You know you have to do it, you know it's good for you, but you don't always feel like it. And we've worked hard to find ways throughout this experience to create reasons for you to remember and come back and build that habit of learning little by little every day. All right, let's do some practice. Cosmo starts loading the first question for me that says, hey, we're gonna start writing some code and checking out our data set. And then, like I said before, our amazing IDE loads. We can run this code, which is going to load the data set. It's going to find the petal length and petal width features, and then it's going to render a beautiful chart for us. Now, let's say in here, I want to add some color to this. So we'll say CMAP equals rainbow, and I'm not making it up. Rainbow is an actual attribute of Matplotlib. I run this, and let's see what happens. Ooh, something went wrong. I got an error. Well, Cosmo to the rescue. What did I do wrong? Now, notice what's going on here. I don't have to explain anything. I just say, what did I do wrong? I don't have to provide an error. I don't have to provide my code, anything. In reality, in the background, there are multiple LLMs using an ensemble of LLMs approach, constantly analyzing what is going on. So by the time I go to Cosmo and ask the question, Cosmo literally knows everything there is to know about the current situation. So you instantly get a highly contextualized and high quality response. In here, Cosmo is like, oh, you forgot the C parameter. Of course I did. Let's say C equals, what did it say? Iris, target or targets? Target. And let's run that again. Beautiful. Got a rainbow. Thank you, Cosmo. Okay, then I can submit this. Cosmo instantly checks my work. Ooh, I'm almost getting my skills badge. Says that looks correct. If I had submitted wrong, Cosmo would actually give me feedback. Would never give me the solution right away. Cosmo would say, you know, you seem to be missing this element here. Maybe have a think about it. And again, for those that prefer audio over video, you can always make Cosmo talk, and you can set this as your default option. Let's hear Cosmo one more time.
That looks correct. Nicely done.
All right, here's one more fun one before I finish the demo. You know, Cosmo speaks over 20 common languages. So if I was, for example, my English wasn't so great, I can say, tell me that last sentence, or I can just say that last thing in Spanish. Since we're in California, I'm going to take a hunch. All right, and not just writes, speaks too.
Aquí está la diferencia entre el código inicio y la solución del alumno.
Beautiful. All right, then I can exit here and see my progress through the universe of skills and build my excitement to keep going. Now, if you're wondering, what is this going to cost, right? I'm sure some people are like, yeah, I want to use this. How much? We've thought pretty long and hard about how to price CodeSignal Learn. And we wanted to make sure that we can give free access to people who can't afford to pay for this. So the way we structured it is Cosmo has energy that depletes anytime you need Cosmo's help, whether it's checking your work or asking a question. And you start every day with 5 energy bars, and every time you engage, one of the energy bars goes down. That means you can keep using it for free and come back the next day and never have to pay. However, if you want to accelerate the learning journey, you can purchase Cosmo Plus for $24.99 and have unlimited energy available to you. Compared to $100 an hour private tutor, I think that sounds fairly reasonable. Now, the good news for you all today is that, first of all, the demand has been really, really high, so we had to start a wait list. And everybody in this room, very soon, will get an email giving you instant access to CodeSignal Learn and Cosmo, and a month of Cosmo Plus on us. And one more thing. We're very aware that right now, the courses we have on CodeSignal are focused on teaching core hard skills in technical domains. But we're also aware that our customers, both individuals and companies, have needs to close gaps around other skills as well. from hard skills in other verticals to leadership skills in technical domains and collaboration skills in technical domains. So I'm excited to share that our amazing team is already working on courses and simulations to make practice-based, mastery-focused, and one-on-one guided learning possible at an even larger scale. All right, ready for one more look at Cosmo? Let's go!
That's pretty incredible, isn't it? I'm so excited that you finally get to see what we've been working so hard to bring all of you.
And I have to confess, I'm a lot in love with Cosmo.
I think we all are.
Thank you to Tigran and our distinguished guests for their time and thoughts today.